Hey, Shalom, Makib, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, who is in his gospel brother, and the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. It's just a quick little in transit through the spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. How we endure all things for the elect's sake. We endure all things for the elect's sake because, you know, Yahweh Shai compelled us. It says, for the elect's sake, these days were shortened. So when you look at the state of the world now and the state of mankind and the mindset that our people in general is in, they're in a sickly mindset, okay? And they don't understand the dynamic of the spiritual battle that we must undergo in order to get to the kingdom. Okay, like I was watching a video about this Edomite, about him dying, and he said it was the most peacefulest thing in the world, you know, because when you talk about death and sickness and endurance, it's hard to endure when you have a sick or when you're sick in the body, okay, because the scriptures goes into how fine health is esteemed above gold, roughly paraphrasing it. Because to be incomplete in the body, to be diseased in the body, which disease means body is not at ease, to live that kind of life is very laborious and is very is a frightening thing, because you're thinking about the fleshly aspects of you passing from this world to the next world, and the biggest emotion is, damn, how people are gonna feel when I pass on. Okay, and the average human that's alive today, that's up in age, whether it be late teens, early 20s, mid 30s, 40s, and elderly, I guarantee you had those thoughts like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, you know. I've had those thoughts, man, you know, you got real bad stomach issue, had like some bowel issues and shit, IBS or whatever you want to call it. And at times it's just like, man, I don't know if I can really endure this shit no more. But that'd be your flesh talking, because, you know, the flesh is used to being comfortable. But if we read the scriptures, we understand through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai that the men of the Lord endure all things, like Paul. Okay, he was smite with the illness. It doesn't really tell us what illness he was in or what type of disease he had. But it said he prayed to the Lord 3 times. And the Lord didn't cure his disease, because it says, look, man, through your weakness, your strength, roughly paraphrasing, he said, through my weakness, my strength is really declared. And, you know, I'm not quoting it verbatim, but through the weakness of his infirmities, the Most High was able to show his strength, because you had a man that was literally felt like he was on the verge of dying, from being shipwrecked to being robbed by countrymen, being persecuted, and ultimately being stoned and put to death, and seeing the spiritual world. For him to come back in the body, like he stated that he didn't want to come back, but he said it was more benefit for him to be in the body, okay, with the members of the body, or with the men of the particular churches or the body, or the followers of Yahweh Shai, than to be in spirit realm and peace, man. So he endured suffering, he endured being shipwrecked, he endured all things. So yeah, that seems like a heavy burden, and it is, because the scriptures goes into the sentence of all life is death. The sentence over man is death, because every incarnation you came in, you ultimately died and went to the spirit world, and then, you know, you came back in this particular incarnation of yourself. Okay, so yeah, it's hard to endure a painful life like that, but we do it because that's what we're commissioned to do. You know, like when you look at the life of the men of the Lord, the prophets had hard lives, man, okay? From the moment they were called to be men of the Lord until the day that they died. You know, I'm trying to remember what prophet, I believe it may have been Isaiah. I believe he was sawn asunder. Literally, they believe he was sawn in half, you know? And to live a life of agony and to being persecuted by your people wanted to kill you for what you're teaching, and to still have somebody that want to take you out, to endure a hard life, it's hard, man. That's why the scriptures say, hey, endure, roughly paraphrasing it, it says we have to endure as soldiers being of Hamashiach, okay? Because you have to be a soldier, which that word soldier goes into men that's able to endure hardships. Also, it goes into being solitary, you know, because this truth is a very serene walk, man. It's a very solitary walk. You know, you find out things about yourself, you know, things that you're not too pleased about, things that you may be pleased about. You know, you go through doubt, you go through moments of despair. You know, you go through moments of tranquility. You go through all types of ups and downs in this truth, man. But it's all to be an example for the followers of Yahweh Shai, man. Because, hey, you know, Paul even said it, man. You know, he said, roughly, hold on 1 second. But basically, he went into the whole account of enduring all things, man. You know? So, you know, brothers, don't get too discouraged. You know, continue to push, continue to have a positive outlook on things, because there will come a time and a day that the Lord will make us whole again, man, and that we won't have to do this, because, hey, we're a spectacle into this world, and you go into a spectacle, or if you spectating, you're looking on something, or you're gazing on something with amazement. And when the world sees us, that's exactly that, because they look at it like, these men are above our stock, but yet they're so different. They're so controversial. You know what I'm saying? And their whole thing is to disquiet us. Because ultimately, this message, it doesn't adhere with their policies, man. You know? And right there alone, that makes you a target of being persecuted, because the scriptures goes into he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. You know? So understanding that, you know, that's part of this walk, man. You know, it's not like Bruce Lee said. He said, look, don't pray for an easy life, but pray for the strength to endure a hard life. Because endurance, like when you go into like diamond pressing and shit like that, when you test the strength of diamonds, you put it under the toughest compression, and we'll see what kind of minerals comes forth from it. Same thing, you know, brothers that's into like jewels and stones. When you see how people make stones, in particular stones and jewels and elements and stuff like that, you notice that they put it under the most rigorous type of treatment to make sure that it's pure. Okay? Because if we're lively stones of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, we have to be tried through fire. Okay? And if you're tried through fire, and ultimately you don't succumb under the pressure, then ultimately you was a jewel of the Most High, man. And that's something that we're all looking to overcome. Being tried in the fire, because you may get damning news like, look, man, you know, your mother ain't gonna make it, you know, or you may not make it. You may be diagnosed with a terminal illness, you know, that may shake you up, and everything that you know in life just changes. It's just like, man, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't even have pleasure in anything anymore, because that terminal illness, it'll spin you for a loop. But once you come back to reality, you learn to adapt and to deal with it. Okay, you learn to deal with it. But at the end of the day, you still got to go out there. You got to teach. You got to stay diligent. And you still got to have that ultimate belief, because when all else fails, what else do you have to fall back on outside of your faith? You know? What else do you have to fall back on outside of your faith, man? You know? Because at the end of the day, like, you know, I went through a situation a long time ago, and I was new in the truth. And I caught a real bad injury, man, to my arm. And I bled out, you know? And part of me thought I was I knew I wasn't gonna make it. I'm like, man, I'm done for. So I just accepted that shit. I'm like, you know what, this is where it ends, and I just accepted it. Like, fuck it, I'm finna go to the spirit world. In the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, you know, I'm just getting up and started. I'm just getting there, and I'm like, I know the Lord ain't gonna let me go out like this. But shit, quite frankly, I thought I was close. So when I sat there, I accepted death. And when I say that was like some of the most peaceful sleep I done got, it was real peaceful. But to find out, I wasn't transitioning, not yet. I was just literally blacking out, you know. So I wasn't there on the other side, because I was still conscious. I was still able to think. So, you know, it was just dark, but I was still conscious, meaning my spirit ain't leave the body. So I was being resuscitated, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that I was still here. But when I say that I was going to sleep, and that rest, that peace came upon me, I was like, wow. That was the best sleep of my fucking life, man. You know, when you just give it all up and just like, look, it is what it is. You know, but I knew through the spirit that the Lord had a bigger purpose, because we have fruit out here to get. You know, we had to go out here and do the work, and we had to go out here and build up men. And that's the ultimate purpose on why the Lord kept us, or kept me. You know, very grave injury, you know. It had a more than half mortality rate. You get hit in the brachial artery. That's like a main artery in your arm. Like, you bleed out, you're done. Now, of course, it's survivable, but luckily, you know, they got there in time. But, you know, enduring that type of torment, enduring that pain for a couple months, getting back right, had to get my body back in shape, my arm, and working out. You know, it was doable, but it wasn't the easiest thing. But I knew at that point, I'm like, yeah, we got to go full for the Lord, man, because it's a bigger purpose at hand than just, you know, ourselves, man. You know, that's why Paul said that, man. He said, look, it's more profitable to be here in the body than to be in the spirit world right now. And though I would rather be there, but overall, man, it's more beneficial for us to be here on planet Earth. You know, it's more beneficial. No matter, you know, how damning it may seem, it's more beneficial to be here on the planet Earth to teach the word, man. Though it sucks, we almost out of this shit, man. You know? So, hey, you brothers out there, man, you know, just hang tight, you know? Stay on point, you know, keep believing. Because at the end of the day, like I said, belief is everything. That's what's going to help us to overcome. Because when you go into 2 Ezra 7, it goes into, you know, suffering the straits. You know, in order to see the wide, we got to go through the straits. And we know what the straight gates say. You know, the straight gate meaning that you got to go through hardships. Like straits means positions of difficulties, man. You know, the straight gate, being put in situations that you may not like. You know, you may have your house repossessed. You may have your car repossessed. You may lose your job. You may lose all your finances. You may file bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? You may fucking get sick. Who knows? But at the end of the day, you still got to push, man. You know, and I just, hopefully this is just encouraging to you brothers out there that may be dealing with things. I know we all dealing with things, you know, from marital situations to children to health to finances. There's always something going on in the body. To the point, we don't get a fucking break, man. You know? But being soldiers for Hamashiach, man, that's what it's all about. And keeping that, you know? Because, hey, look at the apostles and elders. They've been in this thing 30 plus years and they endured some shit, man. You know, and it's stories that I sit back and I listen to them and I'm like, wow, these men endured a lot. I'm like, a lot of men out here talking shit about these particular men, but they wouldn't be able to endure half the shit that they endured. You know? Because believe it or not, a lot of our elders and apostles, they suffer from a lot of bodily ailments, man. You know, some brothers are suffering from life-threatening diseases, you know, diabetes, all types of shit. You got men that suffer from that, but hey, you would never know because they're so fervent in the spirit of the Lord, man. Okay, like my example was when Stephen, when he got stoned, he was so full of the spirit with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to the point as he was getting stoned, he saw the glory of the Lord, man. And he said to the Lord, hey, receive his spirit and to forgive them wicked ass jakes, because believe it or not, a lot of men that killed the prophets of the Lord, some of them repented, man. You know, like, hey, when Yahweh Shai say, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Hey, those were Israelites he was talking to, because, hey, after the Lord got crucified, you had a lot of men that believed after that. Okay, same thing with the man on the cross, the thief on the cross, which represents balance. You had the thief on the right, the thief on the left. One scoffed all the way into his death, and the other one believed. He said, Lord, man, just remember me, man. And hey, he said, look, today you will be in paradise. So that one instant when he gave it all up to the Lord, you know, hey, he believed. You know, he believed. And the Lord, you know, the Lord had mercy on him. You know, so hey, those things are very possible. So we got to keep pushing, keep enduring. You know, keep enduring, keep asking the Lord to build us up. But I'm in it there, man. My route got deviated. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Hey, Lord's will, you brothers and you few sisters out there were edified. Into the next lesson. Shalom and above.